Hello and welcome to Steve Walker Guitars. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're having a good weekend so far. As you may be aware, I am taking part in this year's Great Guitar Build-Off 2021. Last year's was fun. This one's going to be fun. I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different and I put it out to a vote, and I am building a baritone 6-string. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll see in there that I have a template for the body, but as it's a baritone, the neck is that bit longer than the templates that I already have for the necks. So in this video I'm going to be making a guitar. We know it's a guitar. I'm going to be making a neck template, and I'm also going to be making a neck pocket jig template, and in there I'm going to be putting in the pickup cavity holes as well, and the holes for the string through for the bridge. Hope that made sense. So let's get on with it. Okay, so hopefully you can see that I've drawn out my neck template already, and some other bit that's just off camera. And to get this, I worked out the most material that I'm going to need from the centre line. Always use a centre line on your neck, on the body, that way everything lines up when you put your bridge on. The nut all lines up, you don't get any strings hanging off either side. If you've got fret markers, dots, they're going to line up and it's going to look right. So I use an existing template. This had been one that I bought probably 8 or 10 years ago, and although I have my own headstock design that I'm going to be using, especially on this one, I work from this because it's got the machine head holes drilled, or markers at least. It's got a centre line. The measurements, I believe this is a 43mm, memory serves me correct, nut, and I know that the body that it comes with, it fits the pocket properly. So all these things I know that I can use as working reference points. So it's not necessity. This is just one of the things that I use. But like I say, measure from the center point out and see how much material you're going to need. So I know that I'll be all right with 50mm from the center line out for this part of the headstock. The end of the headstock's that little bit wider, so I would make it say 60mm just to be on the safe side, and then do the same on the other side, just so I know that I've got a square edge. So I put my center line on my piece of MDF. This is 18mm thick. It's not necessarily the thickness I would normally go for, but it was a bargain at my wood store down the road, so I thought, why not? Can't pass a bargain up. So anyway, to get my center line, I know I've got a straight edge here, so start by measuring 60mm, a couple of points, and then use a meter ruler to get that line drawn on, and then again 60mm from the center line up, or you can measure 120mm. So you know you've got your outside, that's the widest point. As it is, I'm because I'm having a reverse headstock on this, it needed to definitely be 60mm above from the centre line. If maybe you're making a 3-a-side headstock, these measurements are just what I'm using, but as long as you've got a centre line to work from, you can make that as wide as your design needs. As long as your strings come through and they're not sort of on the actual guitar, they're not going to interfere with strings or machine heads behind them. We've got the centre line and we've got the outside line, and we're going to cut that edge later and be working with this. Now, as I'd said before, I'm building a baritone, so I wanted to make sure I had enough material for the headstock. And I know I've got a little mark on here where I placed the nut on this. It allows, if I'm having a straight through neck and headstock, no scarf joint or pitched headstock, I know that I've got enough material there for like the Fender style scoop when I thin the headstock. So I'll put the mark on here on the template, and then use a protractor, and then as you can see, hopefully there's a centre line going down this way, and then you've got your 90-degree mark. And what I use is the straight edge is what I'm going to use to put the line on, but the centre line that I've just told you about and the 90-degree, I make sure that they line up down the centre line, and then I can draw my straight line across for the nut. So the mark that I put on, that I transferred from my other template, I use this straight edge for that. And to make sure it all lines up, I get the 90-degree and the centre line on here lined up with the centre line that I've marked on. Draw the pencil line on, and that's the reference point for my nut. Then, because I'm making a baritone, the scale length that I'm going for on this body, on this guitar, is 27-inch. So there's a couple of different ways you could do it. You could measure from the nut. You get your 0 at the nut, and then, because like I say it's 27-inch, 27 divided by 2 is 13.5. So I know that the 12th fret is going to be at 13.5, and then I can either measure from the 12th fret another 6 3/4 inches to get the 24th fret, or you can use, I use this, it's basically a template for the fretboard for actually slotting the fretboard. And these little notches, there's a pin. This one I haven't actually used, which is why it's still got the plastic protective sticker on it. But when I come to use this, I will be peeling this off. The little pin here sits in the guide. It's the centre of where the blade is. The fretboard blank sticks to this, and when I want to put the first cut in, the little notch sits in against the pin, and then I can move either the whole fretboard slotting jig over a blade, or if I've got a miter saw, sliding miter saw, I could use that, and that will cut it, then move it along a notch. Same again. It could work with a hand-powered saw. You could have a jig like a mitre block with a pin. You put your cut in, move it along, put your next cut in, and that way you know you're getting a precise cut for each fret, however you do it. But to get an idea as to how much fret wood you're going to need for your template, you can use this as a guide. So put the nut slot, the notch for the nut even, where the your original nut line is that you've marked. The 24th fret is down here, so I'll put a line, a mark out here on the template for the 24th fret. Again, get the protractor, line it up, put the line on. Now I know that I always allow 5mm extra on the fretboard after the 24th fret, and so I would perhaps mark that on there. I haven't done it on this one because this isn't the fretboard template. This is the neck template, and I'm going to be having extra on the neck. It's going to be seated into the pickup cavity area. So I've added, let me just have a look, from the 24th fret I have added an extra 35mm. So when the neck's fitted into the body, it will go that bit further. It will sit back here. The pocket for the neck pickup is going to will be routed over that, but the neck pocket will come into the pickup cavity. That was a lot of waffle. I'll get onto that bit afterwards. Anyway, so now I've got the 24th fret and the nut. I've got the 12th fret marked out on here as well. I've got the headstock drawn on because I used my original template. I've modified it to my headstock design. I measured out where the machine head holes are centered from the edge of the fretboard, and it is 11mm. So I measured out 11mm from the head, the edge of the head outline, put a mark on, another one a bit further up, join them lines up, and I know I've got a straight line that is the equal distance, so the machine heads will all be in position as they should be. And then I'll mark out, when I come to drill them, the distance that I need along there for the 6 machine heads. Now I have made this neck, I'm going to make this neck 43mm wide at the nut. So I went from the centre line, measured out 21.5mm both sides, then double checked it side to side, and I have 43mm. And then at the 24th fret I measured it out and I have 56mm. So I divided that down to 28, measured from the centre line to the edge 28mm. Same the other side, again double checked that it measured 56mm overall, and it does. So now I have lines that I can join up. I did use a metre ruler for this, can't find it at the minute. Can't put my hands on it for the video, but I then joined the two lines up. I continued it through so that I know that I've got the right angle or for where it's going to sit in the neck pocket. Did the same the other side, and that is essentially the neck pocket, sorry, the neck template drawn up and ready to cut. I have also done drawn out a template for the pickup cavities. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them, but you'll see that as I go. It's very much a similar sort of thing. I've got the centre line on. I've marked out where the edge of the body is and where the curves are going to be on the body. They line up with the template. Put my original body on, original template, drew some extra lines on, and I've allowed extra. I'm going to be cutting this piece out as well because I want enough material for the base of the router to sit on so it doesn't slip. I want the base pocket for the neck to be nice and even, level, smooth, all that, and having excess on your template allows you to do that. Another thing about having a thicker template, there's less flex in it when it comes to doing the pocket. Anyway, let's get this cut. Okay, so there is the neck template. This is the pocket template. I'm going to be cutting in the pickup cavities at a later point. But I just wanted to show you, I've got the full body template just to show you how this all lines up. The centre lines, as I mentioned earlier, have a point here I've marked on the end just to show, so I can line this up correctly. And I've also got the shape of the body drawn onto this top template, just so that when I put it on the body I know exactly where the curves are going to be, so that I can put the neck in the same place. When I'm doing this on the actual guitar body, I'll super glue masking tape it down so that it doesn't move. But as you can see, I'll just move this so I've got a bit of room. Actually, just before I do, I've put curves on the edge of the neck template, but they are cut square in here, and it doesn't matter so much about this as long as the edges are straight. When I run the bearing cutter on my router down this edge, there's going to, because of how it spins, there's going to be a curve in that corner anyway, so this will just slot in, or the neck will actually just slot into the cavity on the body. So I'll show you this lines up. What I'll probably do is put a photo in just so you can see. You can see it's quite a tight fit, but I found my meter ruler, slightly longer than a meter ruler, and if I put the 0 at the nut, this is 27 inches, so this is the scale length, this is where the bridge will sit. And there's a screw in the centre of the base plate, and what I'll do, so that I know that I'm marking this in the right place, put the centre of the screw on the centre line. I'm just going to put a little mark there so I know where the front of the base plate is. Get the protractor again. As it is, I've already put the line on, but and that is where, so I know that the base plate is sitting square to the rest of the body. I now have a line that I can work from, that I know is 90 degrees from the centre line. And again, 0 on the nut, and 27 inches brings me to the break point on the saddle. So what I'm going to do as well is I'll be taking the saddles off the base plate, and as these aren't square like they are on a lot of bridges, they're angled. So what I'll be doing is I'll take the saddles off, and then I'll have this in place. Then I will mark out these where the holes are going to go through the body, and I'm going to put them on this. And the reason for that is because if you don't have a pillar drill or a bench drill, whatever you want to call it, with a deep enough throat on it to be able to fit the body under, to get a square cut, all the drill hole all the way through. Using this, again, with it being a thicker piece of MDF, if I drill this on the pillar drill, because it's not the full width of a body, I will have straight holes down, and that will be a good guide for when I come to routing the neck pocket, because I know where the holes need to be on this template. I can use the template as a guide to get my hand drill at the right angle to go through, and I can go in halfway. Then when I come to put them in from the back, if I super glue and masking tape this up again on the other side of the body, using the curves that I've drawn on to the template. Actually, take the neck out. If I use these curves here, when I come to put the body on, if I can line it up, and then I can super glue and masking tape that in place. Then when I flip it, because I'll have the holes in the back of the template, I can again run them through, and those holes will line up with the holes I've drilled through from the front. You will see that when I come to do the body, so it will make more sense. So I hope that's been helpful. That's where I like to start generally when it comes to making templates. Start with the neck, or if you have a neck template, use that so you can get your scale. You can mark out, always use a center line. That way you know where you're going to put your bridge. Once you've got your bridge in place, then you can draw, if you're freehanding, or you have some ideas that vary from the classics like the Strat, the Telly, the Les Paul. If you're doing a different drawing, if you've got your neck and the scale length and you know where your bridge is going, it's going to be easier for you to be able to draw your design around that. Like I say, if you've got the center line, at least you can get your proportions. You've got your scale length again, you can get your proportions, you can work out what's going to balance, what looks right. Draw it up on paper first. That's another thing. If it's a brand new design or idea, then if you get enough paper so you can draw the guitar to scale. It's something that I've only started doing recently. I've done it on and off over the years, but with original designs, it's easier if you have a drawing that you can look at, rather than going along and making mistakes and as you go and then thinking, oh, I wish I'd done that different. At least if you've done it on paper, there's things that are going to happen along the way that happen and you find out. But if you can get your measurements in the first place on paper and you can see what it is, it's so much easier to work from. So I hope that's been helpful, and I hope I haven't waffled too much. For my great guitar build-off videos, I'm going to try and do it a little bit different to how I normally do. My intention is to do a video on the neck, the complete build of that, video on the body, complete build of that, another video on the finish, the stain, the colours, and all that, and the glue up, and then the wire up. Everything like that is going to be in like the final or penultimate video, and then there should be a demo video of the whole thing and maybe a recap as well. So something I'm going to try doing a little bit different. Hopefully it'll make more sense, or easier to watch. And I hope this one has been helpful for you as well. If it has, that's great. Let me know. If it hasn't, let me know in the comments. I want to improve my videos as best as I can so they help you. I'm trying to do them in a way that it shows that anybody can, who has the desire to build a guitar or a bass, because it can be used for both. If you've got a desire to do it and you're wondering if you can or not, I'm trying to show you with the way I build that anyone can do it. So have a go. Like I say, if this is useful, I'm really pleased. Let me know what you think. I have been working on my video for the fretboard radius jig, still not quite finished yet, so that will be up soon, I promise. Not promising when, but it will be up soon. Anyway, on that note, I'm gonna stop my waffle and crack on. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.